Good morning and welcome back to Team Fortress TV2. That's right, we're starting nice and early today because we've got some great games coming up. I'm Ryushi, with me is TurboTabs once again. If you've been watching TFTV2, any time yesterday you will have seen both of us shouting quite loudly at our computers yesterday, I think. But I think we had to. We had some great TF2 yesterday, right?
Oh yeah, it's been upsets left, right and centre. TLR had an absolute hell of a LAN. They've completely burst out of the scene. Nobody was really predicting it. Maybe a few were saying like they were either going to have a bad LAN or a good LAN. More tilting towards the bad LAN, if anything. But TLR proved everybody wrong. But TLR aren't the only players in this tournament that have upset people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've had quite a few upsets coming out of Reason. I mean, well, I say upsets. I'm pretty sure they've upset their fans, to be honest, more than anything, as they didn't do too well yesterday. However, over on the mainstream, they are going to be fighting up against Froyotech. But right here, right now, we've got nerdRage versus TLR, and it has just gone live. So things are hotting up here in the Rico Arena in Coventry as things get set to look hyped. Our first map is going to be Gully Wash. It's TLR on blue, nerdRage on red, and the first middle is starting now. TurboTabs, take it away.
I see Alpha kind of scouting out this right-hand side, but you see the first big bomb coming out from AMS, just trying to control that middle point, and now you see the rest of NR actually grouping up on this right-hand side, trying to focus out Alpha and Nico, and now with those two players down, they go on the counter-attack. Flippy is the first one charging forward. He brings War down to literally tip his health. He's actually fighting off against Tech now. Tech actually takes out Herpy, who's trying to cover War. War's on literally no health right now. He's gone. That's it. That's like a team wipe, Ryushi.
That is a full team wipe there. I think every single player from TLR eventually dies, and with War and Herpy still down for another 7 seconds, nerdRage can really start to look to push forward here. They've got 100% advantage, and if they can just rush straight into last before War even spawns, there's not going to be any sticky traps to bar their way, and that looks like what they're going to be doing. They're rushing in. The Uber gets immediately popped off. nerdRage coming out strong on this first round. They forced the entirety of TLR back into spawn. TLR just leave the sentry gun out to defend, but with War going down, it looks like nerdRage are in a good enough position. But maybe if they can focus down a couple more players. There are a couple of players from nerdRage underneath the ground, but Flippy gets taken down by Alpha. Tech has to retreat. TLR look to defending this quite easily, actually. That sentry gun did a lot of work in just buying them space to get back into spawn and heal up. And now they can reset and just look to defend until they get their spawns up and they get that Uber up, which they are going to have a pretty big advantage on.
Yeah, it looked like nerdRage were on different wavelengths right there. The flank was desperately probably crying out to the team, you need to push, we're on the cap point, you need to push. And Rib and Tech are like, I don't know, man, this looks pretty scary. 4 TLR players just completely grouped around that point. And they decide to probably play more passive or back out at the end of it, while they just left Stark and Flippy just kind of for dead there.
Yeah, so not quite working out quite how they wanted it to, but I think, yeah, they've left it too long, unfortunately. They can't now push out. They've switched out onto Snipe anyway, so pushing is not really what they want to do, and he's actually going to pick up Zebasai in that in the attic area. And now TLR, yeah, they're looking to push out of this. They know that they've got good sniper cover here. It's against Flippy, so but Flippy's in the sort of underneath attic, so he doesn't really have a good sort of shot onto any of the TLR players here. And if TLR can find some good flank plays, then they could definitely get behind. But
no,
TLR going for last. TLR are going for last. There's an Uber onto last. It's just AMS trying to defend against Uber. Now the rest of the team is starting to come back. AMS is going down, and with War going down as well. It's just the scouts and the Roma for TLR to defend. They do get a couple of frags onto the big players, and it looks like nerdRage, the attack has been blunted, but TLR, you know,
Stark is on the last
behind,
and nobody's looking at it. It's just Alpha. He's trying to get back to the point of time, but Stark pushes him away with the forcing push off that scattergun. Very well played by Stark. Nobody was taking note there, and poor play by Alpha. He should have known that. He should have checked that point, or at the very least, or better yet, just stay on that point to make sure there's no possible chance of a back cap.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we come to our second middle, and nerdRage once again start getting immediately aggressive onto the demo of War, but he does have to back himself away. Now the scouts coming forward. They're taking up so much damage. Zebasai's going to be the first to fall though, and nerdRage, they found themselves once again sort of corralled into their point. Alpha's going to go down, but he's bought a lot of space for TLR to actually get out onto the point. TLR are really weak though. All of their players on low health, and the combo just decides to leave the scouts to die and to back themselves away. nerdRage, if they're quick, they might be able to catch people out, but no, they're not going to be able to get round that corner in time and do damage to TLR. And it looks like TLR, yeah, they're rushing straight up into the top attic, but they're not going to be there in time to defend this point. And I think nerdRage have already they've got ×5 on the cap. Yeah, TLR have to back themselves all the way back to last.
Yeah, you could just pretty much see that Alpha did go for the bomb in. He did get very good damage on Viv, forcing him to back off. But the issue was Stark was in the mix of TLR there, and they were too busy handling him for them to even follow up Alpha's
There's a back cap!
bomb.
Oh my god,
no,
Flippy
not
just
again!
walked past the entirety of TLR. TLR, what are they doing? They had a forward hold, but they weren't checking all the entrances. Flippy just walks in. That is not something that you should ever see happen at Prem level TF2. What is going on here? TLR, they turned up yesterday, but it looks like they've left themselves in the hotel room at the moment. They need to wake themselves up. Maybe we should give them a coffee.
This is a really strange turn of events. Usually, I guess it's just taking a... Yeah, like you said, they just need players just need to wake up. But losing these sort of rounds is very, very bad for morale on the team as well. It will start to make either TLR sad or angry, and these sort of things could strive bad things out of the team. But it's done the opposite. It's just actually brought out the real game, I guess, out of TLR. They are an emotional team, and if they've got that hype going, if they've got that emotional presence, it kind of fuels their play.
Yeah, absolutely. They find themselves a nice little wipe with a nice little flank by Alpha coming in at the perfect time to put a ton of damage onto the retreating combo of nerdRage. And now that they can, and now that they've got that momentum, they're looking to push forward once again. Alpha picks up his sniper rifle. He did so well with this yesterday. But we'll see what he's going to be able to do this time. There is no crits picked up. Serotonin, a big favourite of that crits yesterday, but doesn't pick it up this time. So now they're just looking to see if they can get a pick with that sniper and then push off that with equal Ubers. Stark, actually, I just want to see what Stark's doing here. He's running the spy.
Oh, he's
coming out of spawn as well. He's not just checking.
Yeah. He did go out briefly, check the riverside, and then decided, actually, no, I'll stick with spy, and then went back out from the spawn. He might get bumped into here. He's in a very curious situation. One bump from Nico, and he'll discover him. Oh, he's absolutely inches away. It's making me nervous almost, but during all this, Alpha is sniping people left, right, and center. Rib actually gets a very nice sticky trap onto Nico and Alpha, who are probably going for like some sort of synced up play. Wall goes down as well. It's just the pocket and the medic for TLR. They're forced to back out all the way, not even to defend second or even look at second. They just want to give it up completely.
So Stark gets a pick on the scout. He was
AMS is jumping in. He's used the Uber, but Bull's right there to save his demo man. And now Rib is trying to cut off this doorway to make sure no one can... AMS can't run away, and AMS has decided to actually stay on the point. He goes for the bomb now onto the medic, but Bull is just too quick feet for him. And now Stark has been brought down very low. TLR has decided to push off this damage, but they don't see Tech, who is just hiding above there. He gets a nice little set of rockets onto them. Alpha does kind of exchange that out with a headshot during the midst of it, but during all this, Starky has gone round and started capping the middle point. Alpha's decided to go on the aggressive onto Rip with the machine gun, but he has managed to survive by the skin of his teeth. But thank God, Serotonin made it out alive.
Yeah, so TLR, they've bled a lot of players, but they should be able to defend up on their last. There's no one here to really defend. They're looking defensive on top, but AMS is going to get caught out here. He was having some wonderful games yesterday, but not looking so hot right now. But I don't think it matters. nerdRage, they've got second. TLR can back themselves out. AMS is up in 8 seconds. I don't think nerdRage are going to be able to get into the point before AMS is going to be able to spawn. TLR just need to not lose any players. Like a forward war here, who is pretty far forward, but he should be fairly safe unless nerdRage decide to go on him. But no, they're not.
He was making me nervous there. Like, he was half health and he was still sticking around for just that little bit longer. But it was actually Tech who's gone in. Actually, the rest of NR have gone in. Okay, maybe not. They're actually going aggressive. My bad.
No, it was AMS and Nico teaming up to take down Tech in the lobby area. AMS backs himself out, but Nico stays in too long, ends up giving up the frag. And I think if he doesn't give up that frag there,
goes down on the riverside to Alpha, and I think a scout was with him as well. Herpy, you see him with slight wounds from that fight.
Yeah, it's pretty big, but TLR, actually, they're pushing out here. They've left Alpha sort of back behind on the point, but he's actually run away. Last time we saw Alpha leaving point, it didn't work out for them, but
Stark
all of nerdRage are in front. The Ubers get popped off underneath the attic area, but it's a solo Uber for AMS, whereas a lot of flashes coming out of nerdRage. I don't think it matters. Yeah, Ubers fade at about the same time, but TLR have got the second point. Hard fought, but they win it with no casualties on either side though, and now they're looking to continue pushing, actually push off this momentum that they've gained. There is a scout in from behind them though. Who is that hiding?
That's actually
that's
a spy. Yes, they actually decided to go for a spy play for that last push, but TLR completely surprised them with that push out with the Uber, and now Stark is kind of like, what do I do here? I was going to cap the point maybe, but I guess I'll have to go for the medic. And to be fair, I don't think TLR will expect this at all, so I think this is the time to go. But Stark does need to keep in mind that if he uncloaks fairly close to the team, they will notice him immediately.
Well, he sees that no one's really looking at him. He could definitely make a play here, but it's decided against it. Oh no, here we go. Here we go. He can see the back of Serotonin. It's juicy. Serotonin turns round. Oh no, it's not happening. Stark try for it. He gets the force out, but it doesn't matter because TLR have got themselves 2 little frags there. The force comes out onto nerdRage. AMS getting air shot there by Tech, but it doesn't matter. He does manage to make it across the other side, only to get picked up by Flippy. nerdRage now, they're trying to push off this, but I don't think this is the right decision here. Alpha's ready to wrap around them while the rest of TLR get behind. nerdRage, they're on second, but they don't have numbers advantage. They've still got 2 players coming in from behind. Alpha now coming in, maybe from behind the choke. He's fighting off Zebasai and Stark on second. He loses that fight, but there's too many TLR players on the second now. If nerdRage are not careful, this could definitely happen. No, TLR decide to back themselves away. They know the respawn's coming in. They back themselves away. If TLR time that a little better, then they just absolutely wipe nerdRage there.
It's very difficult to kind of defend that second point from the lower ground, from that shutter door, because it could just easily get spammed out or cut off by stickies. So I don't entirely blame TLR for not defending out that second there. You did see Alpha kind of go behind onto the midpoint, see if he could kind of wrap around that way, but there were some scouts somewhat sitting there or occupying that space at the time. So it wasn't really in the stars for TLR. We see Nico going down on the riverside there, a bit aggressive from Nico, but I guess we wouldn't have it anyway, any other way. The Ubers does get exchanged out. They decide to bring Flippy in. Flippy has actually gone for some point presses straight on. He has got taken out for his efforts, and now nerdRage have to just back out and just rebuild that Uber. I guess it's not the worst situation in the world, especially if you've got Zebasai getting these picks. He's actually decided to go straight towards point, but again, he's being punished for it, but it's allowed so much space for nerdRage to come in now. Everybody's so low, Rib is taken out, another player onto the point. There's just too many players for AMS to focus down. What excellent play coming out from nerdRage, realizing that they can just pressure that point as they take away these picks from TLR.
Yeah, really well fought from them. They are definitely piling on the pressure onto TLR now. It's all up to TLR to see what happens during this mid. Nothing strange coming out of them, and nothing strange coming out of nerdRage for these middles, but it just seems to be that TLR, they can't get the aggression following up from Alpha's bomb. But let's see what's going to happen this time. It's going to be all the fight sort of goes around the point. Both their soldiers getting aggressive. Herpy and Cereto are going to fall, and now the rest of TLR find themselves getting absolutely fragged. nerdRage, there's just these 2 soldiers they need to clear up. Alpha goes down, and AMS, that is a 6-0. TLR choking to death on this 4th round here, Turbo.
Yeah, I hope you know the Heimlich maneuver for Ryushi, because they really, really need someone to just pull that errant, like, bit of choke out of their mouth. TLR, it seems they kind of went aggressive there, and the soldiers kind of punished them for it, but when they got low health, they just kited out from the choke, and then when the TLR soldiers turned up for the fight, the scouts just minced them.
Yeah, now nerdRage all sort of grouping up on that river area, but they're pushing into the Pyro Herpy, who actually gets nothing done. These reflects not hitting anything. Rib does go down though, so nerdRage, they don't have that demo presence, and now a lot of frags coming out for TLR. The entirety of nerdRage absolutely wiped there. That was a no Uber push, no Uber hold for TLR, and they lose 1 player. Some huge damage and some huge coordination from them to just suddenly pick up so many frags in such a short space of time.
And what's even stranger is, like, Herpy didn't really do much there. I don't think I ever saw that air blast connect on the soldier whatsoever. The person that won that push for that hold for TLR was Tech. Tech aimed at the wrong player. He shouldn't be attacking that medic when he has no chance of possibly getting that Uber in that fight. He should be focusing on the guys with guns, Ryushi.
Yeah, absolutely. If you kill the medics who don't have Uber, then they're not very useful, especially in defense pushes. But now nerdRage, they've actually been pushed all the way back up into their attic, and I think TLR, if they can get some good plays, Zebasai's going to go bombing in, tries to find Cereto, hits the first rocket, isn't able to hit the second, does get the force off. Huge plays by Zebasai there to defend that point, I think. I think TLR still get this, but they're trying to get aggressive here off the fact that they have a man advantage. And if nerdRage are not careful, this could be really dangerous for them. Stark has picked up that heavy, and I think that is going to stop TLR from wanting to push in. They don't really want to go in unubered against that heavy, but maybe if they can pick off Rib, he is really low here. They can get a stray rocket onto him. Tech's going to get picked off.
Tech
That's
lost
a huge
the fight
pick by
underneath.
Alpha. Alpha's now underneath. He's looking to make his way up underneath and try and get in. And now he's going to down. The Uber does get popped off onto Flippy. That's an Uber Pyro running around last, but he's not really finding anything. Only AMS and Alpha are going down. TLR still have 4 players up. I say that Nico goes down. Okay, so nerdRage hold for the moment.
It's a good thing that Uber came out when it did, but this does allow Serotonin a nice, healthy Uber advantage to try again later. But maybe, yeah, you actually see nerdRage even thinking about pushing out there to kind of capitalize, but they say it's a bit too risky. He might have his Uber very, very soon before we could even cap out that second. It's a very wise decision coming out from nerdRage in the end of that. I think the issue there was Alpha won the fight against Tech underneath, and that took all the pressure off holding the front doors to go deal with him in the background.
The Uber is coming in now onto the point. It's going to be Nico leading the charge, trying to get as much damage out as possible. AMS actually the only person to die here. This Pyro is just dealing with Nico so much. Now that TLR, they're trying to get as many frags as possible. nerdRage are all on the point. If they can get some good splash damage, but there's only the scouts up, and neither of those guys have splash damage. It's just Herpy trying to fight against 4 weak players, but Nico left him out, hung him out to dry there, and he left him behind. Now if Nico could just get in and find some way of fighting, but he's not going to be able to get in against the 4 players of nerdRage. What happened there, Turbo?
I think Nico backed out. I'm not sure if he was just low health, but I honestly think all of nerdRage were very low there. I think if he just linked up with Herb T and just believed that they could do it as a team, I think they could have actually taken a round there from nerdRage. But now you see a push out from nerdRage. They actually I've got that cap time on the point, but TLR not giving it up without a fight. They are punishing them as much as possible, and we do have a pause, Ryushi.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I don't know if you saw just before the pause, but Ward did pick up Bull as nerdRage tried to push out. And now there is 3 nerdRage players sort of on second point, but they're really, really weak and they have no heals. So it's up to TLR. If TLR can frag these guys really quickly, recap the point, because this point is going to be capped, I think, then they can push straight into last and probably win themselves their first round on the board. But it's up to them if they can clean these guys up really quickly. The pause unpauses pretty quickly, actually. That's a really quick pause. Doesn't matter. Rib runs himself away. Now Tech is going to be cleaned up. Starkey with 20 health hiding behind the rock, but Rib is on mid. That is not where he wants to be, though, because now he's got absolutely nothing to do.
He's camping the forward spawn.
He can't do anything. It doesn't matter, though. Alpha's the only one left. The only one still dead. He's going to go down, but it doesn't matter because there's no demo up to defend last. There's a couple of spawns coming in out of nerdRage, but War gets the crit. We didn't even notice that, and he just does so much damage and just destroys everyone else. It's just him on the point. There is a crit sticky though, so nerdRage cannot get close to it, and they are going to cap it out, bringing the score to 3-1. TLR, can they bring it back? They've still got 14 minutes, Turbo. They've got plenty of time.
I think you were right there. I think even though Rib caught himself out, and you are, the first thing you think is like, I'm behind, I'm a Demo Man, I should sticky spawn. Maybe it's not the best play, because you are vital for that last point defense as the Demo Man. So we are launched into our 5th mid of the map. Starkey is pressuring this right side along with his teammate Zeba's side. This is forcing TLR to kind of bottle up in that choke area. This allows so much point presence for nerdRage to actually even cap out the point. Barely even getting a few frags into TLR, but the pressure is just way too much, and that's just one of the easier ways to win the mid. Why kill someone where you could just force them out of the mid?
Yeah, nerdRage, now they're coming forward. Tech actually jumping super aggressive into the into the attic area, but TLR, they found themselves a little kill onto Flippy on the flank, but I don't think they're going to be able to defend this. If they can kill Tech here, but he is solo, he does eventually go down. Now the rest of TLR, they're coming forward, they've got themselves 2 picks, and they're getting really aggressive here, but it doesn't seem to be working too well for them now, as yeah, they're getting cleaned up coming out the end of that Uber. nerdRage Bull just pops it off at a really nice time. And
no way, War.
Unlucky.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
War.
Oh wow.
What on earth? War just found himself in such a strange situation. He tried to get out, realized Zebaside's blocking his way, goes backwards, lands on Bull, takes the pipe onto him, actually gets this roller or something. I don't know how Bull really died there. It just looked like War died, and then suddenly Bull just died as well, like 2 seconds later. It had to have been a roller.
I didn't even see it, to be honest. I was just too busy watching nerdRage fail to push that last there, as they lose themselves 4 players. TLR are going to be getting this second point, but there's a sniper up. It's Flippy picking up that sniper rifle. I think we saw him pick it up earlier to defend last, but I don't think he really got much done with it.
And That's just the theme for this game. As soon as Flippy picks up that sniper, TLR pressure him down and just take him out of the fight. Flippy has not had much freedom as he's had on the day one of this tournament.
Yeah, and now he's going to be going in, but Serotonin gets absolutely decimated. Wow.
He's taken out Serotonin, and now you just see the rest of TLR trying to pick something off, make, again, something happen to kind of cut their losses. But nerdRage is not giving up a single kill. In saying that, though, Zeverside just goes down.
God, Nico just takes that ball as well. A huge that round there. It's all going on at the same time. So many frags happening all across the map. We can't keep up with it, Turbo. What's going on?
I think because Flippy pulled up as sniper yet again, he doesn't really have that kind of presence of a scout to defend his medic. And then when Nico just went for bull, who's going to stop him? A sniper at close range? I guess Flippy is the one that you want to place your money on, but at the end of the day, it's still a sniper, and it's still very, very hard to pull off those shots.
Well, TLR have found themselves a pick. Tech was left hung out to dry in that attic area, and now TLR, they're looking to push off the back of the sniper from Alpha. But both teams have a sniper right now, so it's really dangerous for any player to really be stuck in a sniping lane, in a sniper lane, as Flippy and Alpha are two fantastic snipers. But it looks like TLR, they're going to get this point for free. nerdRage don't really want to push too aggressive without, don't really want to hold too aggressive without that huge DM fest that is Tech. And they're content to sit back on second and sort of, you know, trap up and see what they can do. TLR, you know, they've got 10 minutes left on the clock. They're 2 rounds down. They've got to do something, and it looks like they're going for a push in through that big doors area. Trying to get off the back of Alpha getting a pick, or at least putting down a headshot onto a player so that he can be finished off really quickly. Now they're coming in, they're looking to push. War leading the charge here, trying to do so much damage that Uber gets forced off though, because War almost going down. Now Bull pops his Uber as well, and it just looks like nerdRage, they're able to surround the players from TLR who are in, and they're just able to do so much damage to them before. War and Nico just hung out to dry by the rest of TLR there.
Yeah, I think TLR maybe getting a bit too greedy there. War got obviously sensed an Uber, and he felt like he had to do something. But sometimes you just have to realize a bad Uber is a bad Uber, and you need to back out and at least just salvage something. They might have even hold middle if they just decide to back out immediately after forcing them.
Yeah, but once again we find ourselves in a little bit of a stalemate. Alpha comes, respawns, doesn't pick up the sniper rifle this time. Decided he's not going to try and fight Flippy that way. He's just going to stick with that rocket launcher. Flippy now is going to pick up AMS, and now with Nico going down as well to Tech in that big doors area. TLR, they're in a terrible position. Their combo is screwed. Serotonin gets headshot down by Flippy. Flippy just hitting shot after shot, and now he machine guns down War. Starkey picks up Herpy, and TLR lose 5 players in a matter of seconds. Now with Alpha going down, there's no one left to defend. Nico and AMS have spawned now, but are they going to be able to do anything? AMS gets destroyed by Zeverside. Serotonin up to defend, but it's not going to be enough against 4 players of nerdRage, and that brings the score to 4-1 on this first map.
This sniper is absolutely horrible to just play against, because you feel like if you just give up that one pick, it makes things so much harder. If your flank goes down, it just provides so much room, and it even traps off TLR immediately, because they just lose certain territory they could possibly step in. It seems like Flippy is getting like a headshot every time someone goes in, you know, any time he ever actually get an aim onto that player, he will get that headshot, and it's just terrifying to play against.
Yeah, well, this time both teams roll out the sniper to mid. TLR playing a little bit more around their sort of their big doors area, not really wanting to take that high ground. Neither team really wants to take it because they know that they both have snipers. But now with nerdRage taking a little bit of the high ground, they could really put TLR out here. AMS is going to be the first frag on this middle already. TLR now coming up with the second hit, but Serotonin gets headshot there. Flippy finding himself another kill. Now Stark and Zeverside teaming up together to take down more frags. And with War going down, there is only one nerdRage player left alive, and that is Herpy, and he is quick to follow. Now nerdRage, Zeverside picking up that scattergun, which is something we see him do very often when Flippy mains that sniper rifle. Already on that second point, ready to cap. nerdRage, they want to keep up the aggression here, and it seems to be working for them.
Yeah, it's really difficult actually on that mid. Once Flippy gets onto that high ground, he's got like almost sighted practically the whole mid. It might be worth just, you know, maybe not dedicating yourself to the mid. Realize if you can't get onto that sniper, or if you don't have a plan for that sniper, you just have to back out a second and just give up the mid. I know it's almost like a taboo to say in TF2, but you know, that's really, I think, the best course of action to deal with this sniper.
Yeah, so Rib, the only casualty for nerdRage there as they push in, that brings the score to 5-1. TLR, they need to do something. They've still got 7 minutes left. Gully Wash is a quick map. They could still get themselves a couple of rounds quite easily, maybe 4 if they're really quick. So it's up to them to really make the plays here. They're not going for the sniper to mid. They're cookie cuttering it out and ready to just get aggressive onto the nerdRage players, I think. But they've got to be careful because Flippy has rolled out Sniper. He was a monster last mid, and is it going to happen again? TLR have the high ground there. They're doing a lot of damage. Bull's actually going to be the first one to die, but War gets super aggressive. Now Rib actually getting launched across the other side of the map. He does go down, but with Serotonin also going down, Flippy finding that body shot. nerdRage, they don't really want to fight this, but they've done what they need to do. They find Bull. Alpha destroying Zeberside with the skill tick.
Warrior.
Wow.
Putting on his best Shadowburn impression. What a player to replace that Shadowburn for this tournament.
Yeah, he's played absolutely remarkably. I've got to say, Alpha. I was worried that he was never going to be as good as Shadowburn, but he has played really well with these TLR boys here yesterday and today as well.
Would you even say he would play better than Shadowburn?
No.
No. Ooh.
I mean, Shadowburn on 5 ping, man. I mean, come on.
We don't know.
Jumps in though, so let's see what he can do.
Got in. Yeah, Tech tried to find the kill onto Wall there, but actually during the midst of all that, Raven set up a carpet of stickies, and as TLR, like the backup, the cavalry, I guess, what do you call it when you've got a backup army?
Yeah, no, cavalry override. Vanguard.
Vanguard, yeah. The Vanguard did try to come in and assist their comrades, but the carpet of stickies just denied that. A very well insightful play from Rib, decided not to focus on the action directly, just focus on the bigger picture. AMS fighting off against Zeberside. The Ubers do get exchanged, but quite evenly exchanged, to be fair. Zeberside working his way into the lobby. AMS is just trying to desperately back out, realizing he's in a horrible position and none of his team are currently around him. Zeberside even picks up the kill onto Alpha. They're rotating up top, and TLR decided just to go back to last and build a sentry gun, get that heavy weapons guy up, and start rebuilding that Uber.
Yeah, War is going to be found in the lobby there. I'm not quite sure what he was doing there, but that's just going to allow nerdRage to just push themselves in. They don't really want to try it though, because they're up against the heavy and the sentry. But with Nico going down, and now the point is just going to get capped out. Zeberside gets onto it. The only person who jumped down to defend was Serotonin. But it looks like TLR just gave up this last round. The score is 6-1, and that is going to be our first map, Turbo.
I think from watching this game, the real difference between the teams is the last holds. It seems TLR maybe like kind of sloppy, don't do the slight little things like leaving maybe a soldier on to last. I know it's very like safe, very safe, and it's kind of risky for your push out, but sometimes, you know, for these big games you have to do these sort of things, especially when you can make these cold calculated cases like we've wiped them and there's one player left. Maybe we should just leave that one soldier on last.
Yeah, I think TLR, they do not look as together as they did yesterday. They looked really sort of different, and things just didn't seem to be going well for them the way they wanted to do. And yeah, the team cohesion just does not look the same as it did yesterday. Alpha's still playing really well though. War actually doing quite a lot of damage this game. I hope we can see some logs. Yes, logs are up on screen now. And I want to say War did a ton of damage, but I'm not quite certain if I'm right. Yeah, he did actually top damage for his team. But if you counteract that versus Tech and Zeberside, both bringing up massive damage numbers. Zeberside, I think, has something like one of the highest damage per heals amount. If you get, he does more damage with a small amount of heals. And he's just been playing out of his mind this all of yesterday and again in this game. We saw him do a ton. Hitting only 2 air shots. Tech, though, hits himself 9. So Tech keeping up that, you know, that
it's like
insane streak that he did yesterday.
It's like the only thing he cares about is just like, man, I don't care what goes on in this game as long as my air shot count looks good.
He's just hitting so many, though. It's insane.
I think he's actually got the most for the tournament so
He must
far.
do. He has to do.
Going back to your heals per damage, I think the holder for that now is actually Alpha, at least in this tournament. But I think in the grand scheme of things, Zeberside usually does hold a counter to that. But the reason we haven't seen Zeberside that much is because he's been playing Scout a lot throughout this tournament.
Yeah.
We even see a hint of it in this in the logs here, that he has brought up the Scout at the odd time. But mostly he's actually decided to stick with the Soldier class. Maybe it's just because of the Gully Wash mashup. It's a very good Roma map, in my opinion.
Well, I think Flippy didn't actually play that much sniper this game, whereas normally he would play quite a bit more. But he mostly stayed on the scout, and they mostly ran cookie cutter. There was a couple of mids where they ran sniper and sort of ran it through to the end, but those maps, well, those rounds were really short. The hard-fought rounds, sort of earlier on in the game, it was mostly they didn't really bring out the Flippy sniper because it looked like TLR could deal with it. And then later on, I don't know what happened. They just suddenly seemed to not be able to deal with it anymore. Maybe just Flippy turned on his aimbot there and managed to do some damage. I don't know, but it seemed to work out. Yeah, I've been handed a piece of paper that says RIB 3.GKAD, so I'm not quite sure what that means, but 3.9 is what it's saying on the log.
It's contributions to his negative contributions. So his negative contributions being his deaths and his kills and assists to the team, obviously his positive contribution. And as you can see, he's the biggest team player for on the side of nerdRage.
Well, you say that, but I mean, if we then look up at Stark's KAD, so he is also doing a ton of damage and kills, and not dying either. So Rib and Stark, neither of them dying.
And plus, you know,
more than Bull.
And Stark doesn't really have that splash damage. I mean, as a demo man, you just need to throw in a couple of stickies, and the game's going to be like, yeah, you did a good job, Mal. You get an assist, but it's kind of difficult to kind of be all the right places at the right time for a scout, and you're only really a single target class to kind of focus down those people. So again, I think credit to Stark to almost matching Rib in that category.
Yeah, I think we saw a little bit of Stark yesterday, and I didn't think he looked as comfortable as he normally does online, but maybe he's just needed a day to warm up, and now he's here, and he's going to do what he does best, which is just do so much work for the team. But let's talk. We've talked a lot about nerdRage here. Let's talk about TLR. You know, they seem to be dying an awful lot. Nico getting so many deaths there. I think the most deaths in the game. He got himself quite a few frags with it, but not really able to do much. Alpha as well, and then War dying so many times. He seemed to be sort of left out. He seemed to be so aggressive, whereas the rest of TLR didn't seem to quite want to follow it up. We saw AMS leading the charge quite often a lot yesterday, but this time he didn't seem to want to do that. I think that's a key part.
I don't know. I think we do see him leading the charge a bit, but this time the charge is being stopped straight away. You can actually see this reflected in the kills and deaths. AMS with only 9 kills and 16 deaths. That's probably one of the larger gaps amongst everybody in the server. Sure, Nico does die, but I think everyone kind of expects this out of this. It's kind of like if Nico goes huge with this and it works, he can kind of take over a game. But if it doesn't work, you've got the rest of TLR hopefully to pick up that slack. But it would be nice if there was a setting on Nico was, Nico, do you think you could just maybe calm down for a second and just like maybe not die?
Yeah, definitely. When we started this game, we didn't have the delay bots in Mumble, but now we do, so we'll see if we can get some voice comms for the next match, for the next map, should I say, for these teams, and we'll see if we can hear how cluttered TLR's comms are, because they were very cluttered when we heard them yesterday. I think that's a key part, though, because, of course, they're playing without their normal main caller and micromanager Heist. And some would say that Heist in for War, War in for Heist is a big step up in terms of DM, which I do agree, but the comms and the leadership that Heist brought to TLR, I think, was really key for them in the season.
If they had this sort of stuff, this start with Heist, I feel like it would have sailed them over the edge. Heist is such an emotional player, and he kind of channels that into the rest of his team, and it just makes you feel so hyped up and makes you believe you can do anything. And maybe that belief could have done things like even win that game against Veriotech yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll see how things go. We'll do a quick little cut while we wait for the teams to get back off their little break that they've had in between these maps. And we'll be right back with you for our second game of nerdRage versus The Last Resort.